Okay, so I'm starting really late, which is making me feel stressed out for some reason. As it's like it's 5:35, and normally I'm already going by 3:30. So I woke up really late, but it was a weird night. 'Cause it was like I was so conked out. I was so dead asleep, and all of a sudden Stella started to cry. So I jolted awake, and then I look over at her, and then she wants out, and then I was like, no, you're not going outside. And so she got mad, and was like, so I was like, oh. So right away, as soon as I get my own self, like, oh. So I go and let her out, and she goes out and starts drinking that motherfucking water, and it's still pouring and pouring. I just shared a link because when I went on TikTok, I saw some footage of storms from the news, and we still have some more going. We're still in this, I don't know, atmospheric river. It's supposed to go today and tomorrow or something. And it's just still raining and raining and raining. My yard will fill way up and then it will go down, but it's the people in the valleys because this little bit of elevation that I have in the mountains. But this up here is where, I don't know, they can get us with mudslides and shit, I guess. I'm not sure. I don't know. Who knows what's next? It's just like, this is like last year they flooded the Nooksack and all of that river, that whole town down below me where it was where I would go to the vet and stuff, down by Sumas and Nooksack, got all flooded from that river. And now Snoqualmie, the river is like, it looks like it's crazy. And I don't know what other rivers are going to be affected by this atmospheric river or whatever. All I know is that, like, so Stella went out and it just got me really wide awake. And I was just fuming. I was just so irritated. And because it just woke me, I was like in a dead ass sleep. I was like, even when I got up, I was like, oh my God, I couldn't function. And so then I was just getting more and more irritated. So I think I was awake till like 1 or something. I was awake so long. And it seemed like as soon as I fell asleep, I was in this weird ass dream. I fell asleep and then she woke me up again. And then her stomach went and quit growling. It was not growling. It was like, you know, like I just drank poisonous water and now my stomach's upset. It was making so much noise. And I told her, I told you not to drink that fucking water. And so that went for hours. I must have fallen back asleep, but oh my God, everything hurts so fucking bad. Like, oh my God, I'm so motherfucking sick of this shit. I'm not even fucking kidding. I am so fucking sick of this shit. It's like, God damn. Fucking people, wake the fuck up, man. God damn. This is so fucked. How long can they just keep fucking poisoning us and poisoning us? I've seen other people now saying, I don't even think there's really such a thing as winter. I think that they're doing all this with their weather control because of how far back these machines go. And I've heard that a bunch of times. This wasn't the first time. I'm just hearing it more often and faster. Where it's like, fuck, I betcha. This is all fucking artificial bullshit because we live in a goddamn habitat controlled by maniacs. So whatever, I fell back asleep and woke up and I couldn't believe it was, I don't know, it was 444. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting a late start here. And then Stella immediately, it's like, I don't know, we're just in tune. If I open my eyes, her eyes open to look at me. It's like we're one and the same or something. I'm not sure. There's a strange connection. I know that. I've been aware of it. Oh my gosh. You just get these shooting pains too. Fuck, I'm so sick of this shit. And the dream I was having too, when she woke up, it was so weird. And it was so real. It was I was outside with these people and this dog started eating something. And like we're watching it and stuff. And this dog was wild, like fucking Jack. I swear to God, he acts feral sometimes. He's, I think he's kind of feral. I think he was kind of, you know, put outside when he was little and, you know, nobody was hugging him and touching him, teaching him anything. I I think he just was so wild and irritated, and she had too much to do. She had little kids, and that is very irritating when you have little kids and this dog is wild. But it is biting and stuff, and then plus when you stop and you give him love, it's like he's never felt anything like it before. I was like, oh my God, you're fucking feral, dude. You know, you don't even know what love is. So, you know, I'm trying to overcome it, but I get fucking irritated. Like, it gets to be a lot when he's just like completely wild and keeps biting, jump back and forth, trying to catch him, and you can't. It's like the fucking wildest thing. I can't even believe it. And he just runs and he run up and start biting you, run over and bite her. And then she's getting mad because she doesn't feel good and he keeps biting her. Oh, it's exhausting. I swear to God, it's exhausting. But, you know, I know everything's temporary. Everything, well, we always hope it'll get better. Some things will get better. It depends on the energy you put towards them. It depends on, you know, it's all about your energy and how you handle things and stuff, I think. And I just saw this lady, as I went on to look on TikTok real quick and see like what if I saw anything. I saw the flood things and I saw the news warning. We've still got days of this to go. And I saw this woman and she was crying. And I think I saw her the other day crying. And I don't know what she's crying about. There's so many people on there, so many people who are in crisis, so many people asking people for money, asking people for just send me $1 for water. Somebody's even doing a video making fun of it because it's so extreme. Because it's to the point where it's like there's people out there who just want us to feel bad. So they use people to make you feel bad, and then they're gonna go give money. You're way better off if you want to do something to help people. Go in your own community, go down to where, you know, the people are who are struggling, and go down and see what you can do to help somebody. You know, take some sandwiches down, make a big pot of soup, take it down and hand it out to some hungry people. You know, and that's when you're doing something that's positive. You don't have to go and, you know, the giving the money, I think a part of it is for us to learn. You can't just like, here's 20 bucks there, you know, and turn a blind eye. There's no more problems over there. I gave my $20 and nothing else, you know. It's like the problems aren't going away, and people understand that part of humans, and so they will feed off that energy. And so it's extreme right now. Like, man, I can't believe how many people are asking for donations, and they'll give the money to this and that, and it's like, this is some bullshit. I don't trust it, and I don't believe it. And there's so many with the animals, so many with the rescues and the animals. And this one girl that I had seen, because she's done a couple of videos now where she had said, you know, she can't believe how people just look at dogs and cats and stuff. It's like, oh, just dogs and cats. It's like, man, there's so many people that have got to wake up. They just don't understand what life is all about, what life is. They have no respect. I saw one video where somebody did, as it was a person walking, and this big giant goose was walking and talking to him. And so they were talking to it, and the goose was getting so excited. It was like dancing around them and so excited. I've seen so many animal interactions and with humans, and they get so excited. You know, they're trying to communicate with us. They're trying to be a part of, and we're the ones who ignore them. So anyways, there's a lot of really cool ones like that. But there is an excess of people who are trying to rip people off. And this woman, I don't know what she was asking for, but, you know, you become a target to these people. And so she was crying about something, but now she's really upset because she was answered. So there was somebody sent her a message and told her that she needed to go on Instagram and talk to John 2 or something. I don't know, some name. And so she went on there, and that this guy helped her a lot. So she went on there and she paid this guy $500. I saw this and I talked about it because this happened all along, a while ago, back on TikTok. And it was, somebody approached me on there and started telling me that, I was shadow banned and I could get help, go to this guy on Instagram and he would help. And so I went on there and I messaged him, and then I saw he wants to charge money. He went in and he looked at my accounts and he said, yeah, you're shadow banned. And he said, it says blah, 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 blah. And he said that he could remove it, but I had to pay him money to remove it. And so I said no, then I was harassed by the person who shouldn't have known anything about it. They kept texting me in comments on TikTok. And then this person was messaging me. I was like, this is such a scam. But people fall for this stuff all the time. That's why they keep it going. I mean, the banks are involved in scams. There's so many motherfucking scams. I just saw where they have their CPS is before Congress or something. Once it's set that they have committed crimes, because how it worked out when I was listening to this video is that the government like they take all this money, like when people wonder, well, what do they do with our taxes? And so they take all this big amount of money and then they tell all these governors, which depending on how corrupt your governor is, that you get this amount of money to go towards family. It's part of the laundry system. And so they will say it's going towards fixing families and displaced children and all that stuff. But what ends up happening is that they have to go and remove kids constantly from homes that don't need to be removed from homes in order to get this money. So it's this whole big thing that is created. So it was like they were paying the states to kidnap kids in order to get money. But then, like, I'm seeing the aftermath of what they've done. And it's all around you. I mean, just go down to any place where there's homeless people, you're going to see a shit ton of kids from the system. They were removed from their families and they got nowhere to go. They don't know what to do. They spent years in courts and having judges put in this place, put in that place, and so it's screwed them up to be able to just, you can't have all of society have an expectation of development and then put all these other people outside on the fringe. And I mean, they're going to be on the fringe but this is all done on purpose. This is what drives me crazy. But, we're going to see so many arrests. I mean, there's going to be people who are going to go down, like regular people who we know from CPS, they'll be going into court on cases and stuff. It's going to be big, and I think there's going to be a lot of lawsuits. A lot of kids that are out there displaced and have nowhere to go are going to be able to turn around and get a big amount of money from the government to start their life because of what the government did to them. And it was all done on purpose for this laundry system thing. You can go in and listen to them talking about it and stuff, but I can see it coming. Just like I can see this medical, all this stuff is going to be a big shift. And it's going to go really quick, It's going to be, because you can see it's all coming together. Like all this misspending. And I knew it was all, like the whole thing was to, fall back on Joe. And now, I don't know if Joe's saying he's pulling out of the race or something. He's just saying all sorts of wacky shit. Because that's what's supposed to happen. He's supposed to just, it's the takedown. Oh, and there's another sign too. Is I guess they, how when Trump was in office and how he ordered this big fancy new Air Force One. He put in this big order for this really big fancy one. Well, apparently it's out now and he's in it. And so, the signs are all around you who's really in charge. And they're making it more and more obvious and more clear. But there's still so many people that don't pay any attention. But to those of us who are like, well, who are paying attention, who are trying to see the signs to keep us motivated, to keep us going, to be like, okay, this is going. It's like, okay, so there's more signs. There's more signs all the time. I think Kevin to quit, I think that's a sign. He's quitting politics now. It's like, because you're probably going to fucking Gitmo. Like, all these people who keep coming onto the main stage is for exposure. And then people get so upset and irate, like, oh, I can't believe this person, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, that's what they're doing. They're exposing these people. They're showing who the criminal element is. And there's so many. And they're all linked to all different things. And so, you know, Joe's going to be a big part of taking down so much stuff about the government, so much stuff about so many things. Like, he's definitely, you know, a giant, not just the catalyst. Because I always think of Trump as being the catalyst. Like, he was the one that, you know, it looks like he's this horrible person who's doing all this stuff, but really, on the other side of the coin, he's the good guy who's just trying to expose these guys, and these guys are throwing, you know, throwing stones at him to try and get everybody to join in. No, it's him, it's him, it's him. Well, they're just committing crimes blatantly right in front of people's faces. Like, it's gotten so obvious, it's insane. So, okay, let me think. Okay, so the plane, as I saw this other video, this guy, this one video, it was really cool because this woman, these were both back to back. So this woman, a young woman, bought a house for $97,000, and it was it's like a hoarder's house. And so she had found out that when the guy died, the family tried to come, but everybody's out of state. So they tried to come and get some stuff and clean it up, and it was just too overwhelming. They couldn't do it. And so they were going to hire somebody to come in and just, you know, one of those people that come in and trash it or whatever. And so she put in an offer that she would take all the stuff. She would handle the whole thing. And they accepted her offer. So she got this $97,000 house full of stuff. And it's not gross trash, but it's definitely, you know, piles and piles of stuff. Like his office room and stuff. I didn't see where it was like, you know, garbage, like the Coors house. It was just like, oh my God, how does someone live like this? This definitely seemed like an old person who just kept piling stuff and piling stuff. I just saw somebody showing behind their grandpa's chair. It was just garbage. It's like, what the hell happens to people? Like, you can't just give up on that. Well, I'm not going to get up and move. You're supposed to get up and move. It's like, fuck. No wonder you're just becoming decrepit and you can't move anymore. You're fucking doing it to yourself. So, but the woman who got the $97,000 house, she was so excited because this one closet was just packed full of men's clothes. And she works at a donation place that goes and gives clothes to homeless people and stuff. And she said, we never have clothes for men. And so she was so excited. And so she and her friend took all these clothes down too. And she said, look, she got 131 clothing items and all sorts of different shirts and pants and stuff, and how excited all the guys were. And she said it was so fun to watch them because they would pick out a shirt that went with them and they'd get so excited because it matched their style. And it's like, that's the magic. Ooh, I'll tell you another part of the magic. I don't even know for sure what happened because my message that my mom was sending me about it went to the person she was talking about. Oh, this must be the first time that she's had this happen. It could be, you know, it hadn't happened to her in a while, but it's like, oh God, that's the worst. We've all been there. And so she had to go take her friend to, oh yeah, now I realize who this friend is too. Oh my God. Oh my God. So she went, her friend had a STROKE, apparently, and she's got everyone, because this has been a battle between her and my mom. And she's definitely like, just ridicules my mom for not getting those and how ignorant she is. And so she's gotten, I don't know, 5 or 6. She's gotten every one that you could possibly get. So she had an event and had to go to the ER, and I don't know what'll happen, but she went home, probably on more medication, and you know, because that's how this shit goes. And then, so my mom came home and wrote me a long message about whatever. And then she sent it to that lady. So my mom just had some messages this morning. Oh my God, I sent you a long message about this and it went to her. And then the next part was like, oh my gosh, I can't stop it. Now I thought I could stop it, but now it's already, she's seen it. It's like, oh my God. And I was just like, well, that's how the Holy Spirit works, Mom. Sometimes, you know, you got to be the one that tells somebody. They got to see the truth. you know, it's really uncomfortable. You know, I've been in that role before, and you got to be like, fuck. You know, when you get used to tell someone the truth and you're not used to being truthful, then it's like, oh, but the universe works that way. That's exactly how it works. It's going to push you to be honest and push you out of your comfort zone, and it's going to make sure that these people hear the truth, and it's going to keep happening. So you're best off to just be truthful and honest right to the person's face. Or otherwise you got some explaining to do. So anyways, but this other video, the one that was back to back with the person who just bought the house. So this one was interesting because this is what I've been saying too for so long. They create these fucking ghettos on purpose. And I've seen some really cool ass ones with, you know, black people starting, you know, they're realizing they're the natural beings. So many are realizing that they're the oldest, coming from Africa, but there is also like what I kept saying about like this, there's something with this mongoloid or something, where, you know, the Asian people became, black people became the Asian people. Like there's this mix, which I think Aborigines people look like, but there's a group, and I swear it's like back in Tartaria and shit. But so but there's a whole thing about that. So everything originates back from these black people, and so and there's things showing how, you know, black people have been around 400,000 years or something, and white people Europeans have only been around like 4,000 years or something. Okay, what have I been saying? You know, there's something going on about the trying to remove the melanin from the blood, and there's so much more coming out about that and about the melanin in the pineal gland. Like they're trying to, you know, whitewash people. They're trying to destroy the natural beings and create their slave android, you know, their droid race of not feeling, and it has a lot to do with hair too, and because that is a part of your central nervous system of making you feel your environment. Which, oh, I want to say this real quick, okay? Because I don't want to forget about the guy. Stop it, Mister. God damn. Oh, that's so distracting. Let me think. Okay, let me just finish the other one because now I'm blanked out on that one. Okay, so the guy who bought the house, he bought a house in a black neighborhood, and it was like $45,000 or something. No, it was $45 per square foot, and per square foot, and so it's like way below what it should be. So he was trying to figure out like what was going on, and so apparently how it works is that you know, a white person with money, like I've said about how they run communities, they have some person who has no compassion or feelings for people, probably judgmental, could be racist, could be any, you know, they're more like anti-social, they just don't give a fuck. They care about money. And so that they put money into communities to distress them, to control them, it's like they're creating the community that they want. And so this guy who has all this money, and he showed the map from above too. So this guy goes in and buys all these properties all over this area where it's primarily black people live. And so then he lets all his properties go. They all just become shambles. And he owns most of the properties in the area, and they all become shambles. Then he can turn to the government and say he needs, I don't remember what it's called. Gentrification keeps coming to my head, but I don't think that's not the word. It's something that they can claim so that then the government pays them for all their properties, and it closes down the area and makes it, you know, super poor, and it takes people's houses from them. Like it's a fucking, it's a whole thing. And so then you go and you buy these dilapidated houses where it's like they've closed down the area, but then they create these ghettos. So it really is true that these people can't get ahead, where people want to be like, oh yeah, well look at their community. It's manipulated. I've been fucking saying this since a goddamn teenager. And because I went to school with them. You gotta remember, my school, I went to school in the suburbs. It was half black because they shipped all of the kids from downtown out of the ghettos into the suburbs to get an education because they couldn't give them one in their own area. So it was all a game. It was all a bullshit game. This desegregation shit. And but I could see, like with my eyeballs, you could go downtown in downtown Dallas and see, you know, the place where they are lodging all these people. Like, oh, you have to stay over there. That's your community. And then, you know, just let it be destroyed. And where it's come out, you know, that they weren't even allowed to get business licenses in their own communities. They gave them all to Middle Easterns and Asian or Chinese people and stuff like that. So it's all been bullshit to try and, you know, they want to defeat these people. And then they want to, you know, cause racial tension between all of us because they don't want any of us to have empathy or compassion. And then they create criminals in, you know, out of starvation and frustration and all that. So it's all done on purpose, though. It's all of it. And I just saw this one guy, and he's a homeless guy who's been talking about the homeless people who are disappearing, and he can't find them. He can't call it. Everybody's disappearing. And he's one of these people who's speaking out about that. And then he was showing this video again that I had talked about a while ago. And it was, it's like a fucking neighborhood in the suburbs. It's so trippy. So as this one guy who was going to like ghost towns and stuff, he was showing it, and I had seen his like a while ago when I talked about it, I don't remember. But so this guy was showing that video too, and he's like, it's the same thing happened to the homeless people. It's what happened in this town, this community. And he's asking, can anybody find anybody who lived here at any point? Because these people seem to have just disappeared, and it's so cryptic. It's really creepy too, is because it's like the food's still sitting on the table. Like everything is like everybody was just sitting here and suddenly disappeared. You know, like they were practicing, you know, some kind of chemical and wiped them all out, and then just went in and cleaned up and took the people, but left the town and just. You know, I mean, they don't care when people disappear. I mean, this whole thing about blowing up that house, like there's so much shit about that. The guy wasn't in the house. They've got a body that they're saying the guy was speaking out against the government. He kept saying that they were after him. They blow up his motherfucking house and cause all this stuff and say he's in it and he's he's an extremist and stuff. And then he's over here, I wasn't in it. And this is what I'm saying that they're doing. So it's like, it's wild out there. But this one, so, you know, we're having these storms and some of these storms, and I can keep feeling the ground shaking and rumbling. Like right now, I feel my feet on the ground, and it feels like this, like I could feel an energy coming up from the ground. And sometimes I'll start feeling it go through my whole body. I'll feel like my whole body is shaking and vibrating. It's really weird. And so I know something's going on. Like, I know I'm not fucking crazy. And yesterday morning, I don't remember if I was still filming, but there was an explosion. Another fucking explosion. It's like every fucking day. Yesterday, there was an explosion because it was yesterday morning. It's like every day there keeps being explosions. And it's creepy because I'll just sit here waiting for the next thing. Like, what the fuck? And then I'll feel the ground shaking and stuff. And it's like, fuck, what the fuck is going on, man? And then, so my neighbor had been messaging me because that weird guy or whoever it was sitting at in the little space between our two houses. So he's sitting right in between our houses, like our houses are here, and he's just sitting here parked right there and running his car with the lights on, just sitting there, like so fucking weird for a while. It wasn't like a minute or something. No, we keep going out. She's going out. I went out. It was very intimidating. But we both have our different perspectives. You know, she's scared, you know, they're going to break in. And I'm like, man, is this, you know, it was just another aggressive move towards me. And so, anyways, so there was an explosion in the morning. And I don't know if I had just finished recording or what, but there was another explosion and I could feel the ground shaking again. And I was like, fuck. So I messaged her real quick and I said, did you hear that explosion? Because I keep feeling the ground shaking. And then I said, another message, I said, you know, that the tectonic plates are shifting and they're not saying, like, there's stuff that's going on. It's very serious. And I don't know. She didn't say anything all day long. I got up this morning and saw the message. So sometime last night, she answered the message. So she must have went on Facebook to look and see. Because she always thinks like, I mean, this has been a battle that we've had since the beginning where, you know, everything I say, she thinks I'm nuts and I'm crazy and stuff. So she went on Facebook. And so she said what she found was that all these people are talking about the explosions is that they're saying it sounds like it's in the mountains, except for there was one where they're saying that somebody blew up a propane tank at the neighborhood over from mine. Like there's a neighborhood on one side of my neighborhood and there's a neighborhood on the other side. But these neighborhoods aren't like regular, like they're like little things off of the state highway where you just turn into a street and then there's a whole little neighborhood. And well, pretty big neighborhood. It's like 500 houses or something. Well, now who knows how many fucking houses? It's fucking wackadoo. Well, there has been a lot of activity over there for the last week, but not right now. Maybe not because of the rain. Like I don't know how can you be out there working in this fucking rainstorm. But I don't know. Apparently people are because her husband works construction and he's still not home. So anyway, so she said that she had seen about these explosions that people are talking about on Facebook and being in the mountains or whatever. And so I said, well, I felt that earthquake last year. And I don't remember exactly when the time was. I know I talked about it on here because I was standing on it was like the evening and I was standing on my porch and I think there was like a thunderstorm or something and I was trying to get the footage of, you know, because I'm sure that it's, you know, it's not just thunder. There's fucking ships and shit fighting up there. And so I was trying to get some kind of footage or something. And my thing was shaking, like vibrating so hard. And I went in the house to look because I've been in earthquakes before. So I went in to look and see, is anything moving? Because usually when you're in an earthquake, like your light will start, like you'll start seeing these things moving and shaking, and you'll start, like when I was in the one, you start walking and it's like being in a fun house. It's weird. And so I recognize these feelings when I'm feeling the ground shaking, and like it feels like, oh shit, there's about to be an earthquake. And she doesn't say anything to that because I doubt she even knew there was an earthquake. But I said, you know, I felt that shaking that time. And then I saw in the news it was an earthquake. And I don't remember where the center point was. It wasn't right here, but it was like a 5.5 or something, somewhere around. And so it was like, but you can always feel them. Well, it depends on, I mean, some people don't feel shit. But, you know, I don't know. It must be our consciousness, what we're tapped into or something. It's just what level we are in our consciousness of how absorbed we are into our state of living. And some people are really consumed by trying to please others to feel good, trying to look good to feel good, trying to, you know, all these different things. You know, I'm way more tapped into nature, into the world. And I mean, you know, I was one of those girls, those teenage girls. If you've ever seen Mean Girls, and when she goes to the Halloween party, that's me. That's how I was. I was one of those girls. You know, I go with the whole spooky thing when all the other girls are going half naked. And but my one friend that I went, she was my friend that I would hang out with back then. She wasn't one of those girls either. She would dress in, you know, some cool costume too, but we were way more of we weren't, but I don't think back then there was so much of that. That really grew a lot. But, I definitely went to a bar contest. I think I was 18 and I went as a ghoul. And I went as Medusa. It was really cool too. I made this really cool costume and I had this wig and I put all these snakes in it. It was super cool and I was all green. But, you go there and the girls are barely dressed. And, I look like, it's just, I don't know, it's just a thing. If you've been on one side or the other. But anyways, so, I doubt that she even knows that we ever had any earthquake. And I know, she thinks that I'm strange and stuff, but I swear to God, I can feel something coming in. I feel like these explosions in the mountains are not just like explosions. They are shifts. There's shifts happening under the ground and everything's shifting and all this water it's a part of it. This water is going to be more unstable ground. And I don't know what else is going to go. I mean, right now the rivers are rising, washing away houses and people and shit. And then it's supposed to be 2 more days where the news is like, well, of course they're going to build it up. There's no telling how bad this is going to get. And so, but to me, it is like, well, also the biggest thing is that this stuff brings in so much poison and so much sickness. Like, it's mental how sick you become when you're fogged and shit. Oh, she's on the move. Come here, honey. I know she's super uncomfortable. I don't know. To me, her leg looks a lot better. But still, if it's deep in her tissue, I'm sure it's got to be hurting when it explodes out like that. She's got so many of these cysts, too. It's just like, oh, man, she's just so uncomfortable. And this is just hard, man. It's so hard. It's like, God damn, just give us peace. Just let us live our lives, man. Oh, God damn. We just got to keep remembering, we're souls. We can go live our lives somewhere else. We're here for this for some reason. Sometimes it's just hard to believe, like, oh my God, like, what was I thinking? And so, all this shit that we're going through, we signed up for it. We came in because even though we can't tell that we're learning and growing and changing so much, it really is huge. It's impacting, not only our own souls, but the whole universe. And it's making huge change. And so it all has to happen. One thing I think people just don't realize, that I've really learned to realize, is that you can't force something to happen. You can know when you can know something is going to happen, but there's all the stuff in between that has to happen. Just because you know it's going to happen up here doesn't mean you can force it. Doesn't mean you can change it. Doesn't mean you can. And people get so focused on, like, they know something's going to happen, so then they keep thinking, well, I can make it happen. If I do this, I can make it happen. And it's like, definitely in mind, what they have told me, no, you can know that this is going to happen, but everything that happens leading up to it has to happen. That's how it happens. It's everything that happens leading up to it that's what happens. So you're going through everything that's leading up to something. And and you can't change it. You can't force it. You can't make it happen faster, because it was always going to happen right when it happens, because that's how it happens. It happens at this time, and there's all these things that lead up to have it happen, and you're in the process. You're in that domino effect of this thing that's going to happen. You're the lead into it. You can't make it happen any faster. You can't make it go faster. Nothing you can do. It's out of your control. And so it's a process. I've seen that, like, with all this stuff, because, and I definitely didn't know it was going to be so, like, feel so, like, it just drag out. I didn't know that I was going to get so sick through it, that I was going to have so much struggles with the dogs. I was solo through, Winston died, through the cancer and stuff. So, and I know there's lots of people who keep running to the medical because right now, like, everybody is so sick. Everybody's sick, and I'm telling you, there's so many of us that are fighting what they call cancer, and we're fighting all this stuff. I was really excited yesterday too because this conversation was going between because now I'm in this uh, 3-person group chat. So 2 of my daughters and me, and we are involved in this group chat. It was about one thing, but then it starts being about other things. And I had sent a couple of things yesterday, and then my daughter just was like, "Mom," and I'm just okay. I'm not gonna argue about it. You don't want to see this stuff, fine. And it was about the food. Like, one of the things was how they make uh, burgers. Oh my God, there's no food in this shit. It's like, it is so fucking gross. I can't even tell you all the steps. But so it's like this giant industrial plant, and they go and they take this giant like wagon thing over to this place where they just dump in all this like meat. Like, oh my God, it was gross. It was like cold chickens. Like, you just know it's like the rotten stuff that they don't know what else to do with it. So they just dump it in this thing, and this thing just crushes it all up and turns it into meat. But this is why you feel like sometimes you chew on something and it's hard. You're eating a burger and it's like, what the fuck is that hard grizzle thing? It's because this. So they just throw all this stuff in there and grind it up, and then it comes out looking like it would be meat. Oh, but that's not the end. Then they take it to other ones, and then they just dump in all these different powders, which I'm sure is that crunched up bone stuff that I said. All these different huge amounts of these powders and all this shit that they keep dumping in. The people are all in hazmat suits, by the way. And so they dump in all this shit, and then it stirs it up and stirs it up. They go through all these processes. Then they finally, after they do all this and get it all stirred up with all these chemicals and shit, which doesn't even look like meat anymore at this point, then they take it over to this other machine, dump it in that, and then it starts going through the thing and blobs it out in burgers, and then puts the little wrap thing on top. You know how like you go buy those pack of all those burgers? Like, I've bought them before tons of times, especially at Costco and shit. You're having a big barbecue, you go get the big thing of burgers. Oh my God, it's fucking in that. And then also, when you are, conspiracy theorists like me, then you watch all this other shit, and you know what's really going on at these meat packing plants is also a place to get rid of the remains. They're getting rid of remains all over the place. And so, and they do that at night too. And then even where they got busted, they had all these little kids in doing it, because that's, would be terrifying. You're having to be 10 years old and you're taking in all these dead bodies, and they're telling you, you do what we tell you or you're going to be one of them. And then they have to put them into that part that goes into the big grinder, where it's just like they dump in all this different meat and stuff. So it's, it's disgusting. And when you just seeing how much of these powders and chemicals and shit that they poured into it, I was like, oh my God. Even if you got a bite of meat, you're mostly getting this other stuff, which is they got hazmat suits on. The only way to get any kind of food or meat, anything, is you have to grow it yourself. You can't. These corporations are just fucked, man. And they are, it's a big old system where they make us sick on purpose because there's a kickback. All these same people own this same shit. It's mental when you start finding out who some of these CEOs are. Like a guy who owns Johnson & Johnson also owns Roundup, and like, I don't even know all the different ones, but it's sickening. And when you go and watch these people do these breakdowns of who all these people are, it's like, oh my God, damn. I mean, it's crazy to think that they would be feeding us anything good. But so in this conversation with my daughters, and I'd sent that burger one, and that's when she was like, Mom. Because before I was sending the ones with the storm, showing the river, how it was rising. And so then later in the evening, we were talking about something because there's there's a whole family incident happening with my other son-in-law, the one who was best friends with the son-in-law who just died. They were friends from school, got together with the daughters, and you know, he's the dad to 3 of my grandkids, and so he's having a lot of struggles. And so we were talking about what's going on with his stuff, and then my daughter ordered. She was all excited because she's getting all into all this, the powders and the healthy stuff, and she had sent a video in the morning that was like, this is my life now. And so she'll go get white. In the video, the guy goes and gets his white bread to make a sandwich, gets it out on the counter. He's got his phone sitting there, you know, he's watching videos while he's making the sandwich, and the video pops up and it's Dr. Gundry saying, do not eat anything white. No white bread, no white rice, no white pasta, nothing white. And so he closes up his bread and he takes it back over. He gets some wheat bread, brings it over, puts his phone back on, and it starts saying, do not eat anything with wheat. It's so bad. Like, it is. I mean, everything that they've done to the food is to kill us. So that, you know, we've all been going through it. Anybody who starts waking up to the food and stuff, it starts becoming like, I mean, I'm just keep losing more and more weight. It's becoming frustrating now because it's like, God damn, I'm going to have a fucking new wardrobe or something. It's crazy how, like, I don't know, because it seems like, well, since the very start, so I would say probably since 2020, I would think probably I lost maybe 15 pounds since then through all this of, you know, but it's like some of the food stuff is like, ugh. It's like, ugh. And plus things start tasting weird and stuff. So, but I do think I'm going to get a little, I was looking at them yesterday, these little toaster ovens. So like, fuck, there's people who cook like chickens in them and shit, cook cookies, all sorts of shit. Not the old fashioned ones. There's way fancier ones now. So I think I might get one of those. I just use that, and it's like, why do we even need all this fucking shit? These appliances and stuff. They're all just marketing stuff. I can't even believe there's people who still cook out their microwave. If you still cooking out your microwave, you gotta look up shit. Like, there's a study even that they used microwave water. So they had 2 plants, and they used regular water and then microwave water. And the microwave water plant was dead within a couple days. Like, they're fucking killing it. Like, you're fighting a battle inside of yourself like you don't even realize. People are sick because of our lifestyles. And I even heard the air fryers that they're doing something funky, and I'm sure probably these motherfucking new little stove thing or little oven things are probably doing some funky, because that's all they motherfucking do is try and figure out shit to make us sick. This was a sad one too. So they put something on our tires, so something to protect, something with the rubber in the street. It's all such fucking bullshit too. It just pisses me off because they do all this shit. So they put something on the tires. It's something that's called like PRX or something, some fucking chemical shit. And so this chemical comes off of our tires and gets onto the roads. And so in the part where the salmon run, all of that chemical has been on the road. So then when the water goes over and it seeps down into the water. So this chemical is not only just killing the salmon, but it is also making them sterile and stuff. So, I mean, they're destroying all of our food sources and stuff on purpose to get us under control, to make it, you know, it's like in the Christmas Carol, you know, when he's with the last ghost and he's down in that part of town. It's like, that's what they want to turn the whole world into. They live up on the hill, like the fucking vampire movies and stuff. They live in these fucking castles up on the hill looking down. And you know, what right now it's popping in my head is all those last week when I had said that I had seen all of those these cool old castles and shit that are I don't know, they're gonna be gone. All these places are gonna be underwater. And I was like, man, so many cool places that we could go see, and they're going to be gone, you know. I was like, man, we've missed out on seeing all this stuff. But so many of them were these castles, especially like around Scotland and in Romania. It's fucking really cool looking. But they have these castles sitting up, and then, you know, you have the villagers down below. And I think that those castles were filled with these Rockefeller, Rothschild, like, they changed their names throughout time, but that they are, you know, these vampires that own everything, that run the world, and they sit up there in their little castle with the villagers below, and, you know, I don't know, it's fun and games to them, and control. And then plus now they've gone off on this whole thing with science and trying to become gods and stuff, where they've just lost their minds. They're doing such weird shit. Like a being that comes from Lemuria or any of these different places that look like they're half human, they're not. That is what they are. It is like these aren't spliced together. We are spliced together people. The people here, we're spliced together. We've got all these different DNAs to make up this. These other ones, it's not like they didn't put together a lion and a person to make these people. These people, this is their natural being. This is who they are naturally. It is, not everybody looks the same. Like everybody is, there's different. There's the aquatic beings too. Corey Good was talking about a meeting that he went to that he was supposed to translate, because, you know, these people, these men in black and stuff, they aren't psychic. They aren't, like even the one at my house that was there. I mean, these people are, it's like I'm hearing controlled opposition, but it's not like they are. It's the same thing as like when they were doing the testing to find the psychic kids, so that they could take control of them. And that, I know that's why my guides were telling me don't fill out those tests. I had no idea what they were doing, but now, you know, after listening to Corey Good and stuff, I was like, oh my God, those tests were so that they could find the way certain kids thought, that they could see who was thinking outside of the box. There was something that they could see about them. And so they have always been looking for these certain kids. And so I'm just lucky, you know, I didn't get swooped up in that, you know, that they just thought, you know, I don't know. I don't even know. Like, but it's weird because it seems like this energy has been trying to kill me since I was a little kid. But you can't kill something unless, you know, they can't do anything, but they can sure just give you fucking hell, I'll tell you. But so when Corey Good went in to do this translation of this one meeting, because I can hear him, I can, to me, it's not like, I don't know, I know I could sit there and talk to him. Like I've talked to beings all the time. And so he said that when he went into this meeting and he was going to do, it was translating between this Draco, which it was like a couple of them. He said they're super scary because they are huge. And he said that they just, they have no feeling toward humanity. Like they don't give a fuck. They're very, like they come across is very much like they would just stomp on you as soon as look at you. And then they'll, when in these meetings and stuff, they'll put him to death. I think this guy got put to death right in front of him. He said it was really crazy. But going into this meeting, because there'll be a whole council. There's always these councils. And like I've said, I've been before the councils. I've talked to the councils. Like the councils are around. Like you talk to them. People just don't realize who they're fucking talking to in their heads, and they get so caught up in the dark energy conversations that they don't realize, like, you got to step it up, dude. You got to step it up and get out of that dark room and go up here, talk to the councils and stuff, talk to the other beings. But so Corey Good had said when they were bringing in this aquatic person, that they come in and it's like they're carried in this like fish tank kind of thing. And he said the hate that came out of that being how much they hate man. I mean, they hate them. So I have not been surprised at all at the stuff I've seen going on in the oceans. Because, yeah, we're destroying their world. We're destroying all of these different things. That's why this stuff has to end. We are destructive. Our ignorance is destructive. And not everybody will go on because some people are stuck in ignorance. And so that will hold them back. But, there is a shift that is happening that brings us into harmony with our planet, harmony with other beings and stuff. And but there's beings that do not like us because of just look at how people act. Like, it's crazy. These people about the devil, and it's wacky. It's wacky how primitive, like how some of these people who I see, and they're so I don't even know. It's just one guy just keeps coming to my mind. And, he's like, this is the end of the world. And he's a big Bible follower and keeps showing all this stuff. And it's just this whole attitude. And then you got this girl over her is going crazy. She just keeps doing these weird videos and talking to Lord Lucifer, making this whole big thing about Lord Lucifer. And I just like, these people just don't get. Like, when you keep saying and being stuck in these divisive, dark energies, that's what you're stuck in. You're stuck in this, what I was talking about, this like sludge of energy, this dark, just, really icky. And you can tell by what they're putting out there. Like, I know one girl, she's just been all over the place. And and some of her videos are her crying, and maybe I am going crazy. Like, she really seems to have lost her mind. It really does. It seems like this awakening has just sprung a spring. And everybody, you got to, if it is spring in the spring, it is overwhelming. If you're just new to, like, there's a whole world outside of you. When you open your mind and you start seeing, yeah, you have a whole group of dark energy that is trying to manipulate your mind. And it's not demons and shit like what people sit there and say. It's an energy that is like parasitic, that is feeding off of you. And it is, it feeds off of your anger, your sadness, and we're under attack, 100%. And I know that who they attack in my house in order to cause frustration here, because then they can create a big frustration. I know that's when Jack starts going wild, and Stella starts, I can see. It's like, oh man, such a bullshit, man. And I did a whole thing last night, even, where I blew out again to try and blow them all away. But it's like we're under a complete assault, and it does take a lot to get up and to the higher energies, and it can mess with your head because you will begin to unravel, to not know who you are, who you're talking to. I saw this other guy. I was glad of this video too. It's this guy. He's Oriental of some type. I'm not sure. He could have been Filipino or something. I'm not sure. But he was talking about, well, I'm spiritual, and a bit spiritual. He was born into a spiritual. He was born to a shaman. So, and he said that when you're born to one, then it's like the same thing as, I think, like with emperors and things, like you are expected to carry on this thing. And so he had been taught as a shaman his whole life or something. So he's very spiritual, which I don't know all of these different tribes and their different philosophies and stuff. So I don't know all the stuff. I'm just sharing what he said. And so he said that he went to go work in a spiritual store because he really likes being around spiritual people. But he said, I don't know what the hell's going on with these people. He said, there's a fake spirituality out there. And he said, it's weird. You go around these people and they're all talking to some god. They're all the stuff that I keep saying. It's fake. It's fake. And anybody who's really connected knows it's fake. And and then you wonder, like, what are these people connecting to? But like that one guy who was doing that conference, he was saying that there's going to be a bunch of people who would be channeling archangels and all that stuff, but they're not. They're channeling these officers that are monitoring on this other realm. Like, we're surrounded by realms. You just don't see it because your vibration. You have to have your vibration higher to see all the things. That's why I can see things and hear things and stuff, and they don't freak me out, because I know that they're real, because it has been, for my whole life. And so it doesn't freak me out. But when these people are just becoming aware of this stuff, I can see why they get freaked out. Like, I really think people are seriously losing their mind. And he did a whole video talking about, like, it's going to be shown. These people are going to be shown as being fakes. And to me, these people who are out there, life coaches, and trying to help people manifest $1 million, and trying to, and they're all these name droppers with their fucking this name dropping channeling shit. It's like, just like this lady with the Lord Lucifer. It's like, you guys, I don't think that you have any idea what you're talking to. These energies will say whatever. Like, you're all caught up in a name. Like, okay. And so they think that they're, I don't know, channeling Lucifer, Archangel Michael, and Gabriel, and all this shit. And so, but all these people are going to be exposed. And they're also going to get hit hard with the truth, because they're all caught up in, just like he was saying, and I've been saying, and I've seen other ones saying, is it's superficial. It's super shallow. It's not real. And then they want to try and get people to manifest $1 million. How is that spiritual? That's not spiritual. That is not manifesting. I mean, what you manifest is, if you manifest $1 million, you're manifesting lessons. But if you are manifesting, you're manifesting from the universe. They're giving you what you need. They're not going to give you like a bunch of rocks or something. Here's a bunch of rocks. Go out and, maybe give you a bunch of rocks to build a house or something. But that to me is like the same thing, where people are like, these spiritual people who worship money. It's like, what are you worshiping money? Why are you asking the universe to give you money? That is not spirituality. That is 3D living. That's like, hey guys, you want to really enjoy this 3-dimensional thing, start trying to get $1 million to, I don't know. It's very backward. It's not how, the universe works. I'm telling you, you get large amounts of money because it comes with large lessons. Everything has to do with learning. And so, and I know of somebody who got, that manifested because they were manifesting, but they've gone public about how they manifested the $10 million, wrote the check and all that stuff. But to me, I see it differently. I see it as that they were told by the universe that this is coming, and that they were following the actions it took. Because one thing is, too, is like, as a message is, when you are manifesting the life of your dreams, then there's the road to get there is full of lessons and growth. So you are on a road for a while to the path to where you're going. And so it's that journey to where you're going. And yeah, you do have to stay focused on the positive. You do have to, embrace. You do have to go up and yell, bring it into me. I'm here, I'm waiting, but it's coming at it from a different direction. It's not, you just go and sit down and go, I want $1 million. So I'm going to go manifest it. Let's see how this goes. It's, and in the way that these spiritual people all force this onto people, which dismisses all these other life roles that people come into play, because there's a whole bunch of different ones, and lack is a big part of lessons. To go without teaches you a lot of stuff about yourself. It teaches you what you're made of. It teaches you resilience. It teaches you compassion. Like there's a whole lot of things that happen going without things. And, that's what you're here to learn. You're not here to just, you know, everybody thinks like life is supposed to be just easy street, just get up there and, everybody, we're all supposed to manifest $1 million. Even when this turns into the Jubilee, there's still going to be a lot of lessons that are going to be going on for people. There's still going to be all of these people that have to go out and learn. There's going to be more to it. It's not going to just be, I've felt that for a long time. It's not going to be they're just going to drop, because look at how people are. They're so shallow. They don't have the right priorities and stuff. That has to transition. And so they're not going to just, oh, here, you want $1 million, here, have $1 million. No, that won't be how it's going to go. There's going to be, you're learning about value, and you're learning about, there's so many lessons. There's so many things to learn through this. The big thing is, you got to learn what you're putting out comes back to you. And, we are going into a time of the Jubilee where you're not going to have to worry and stress. Like all your things will be met. You'll have a home that you want to pay for. You won't have to pay for resources. You won't have to go to work if you don't want to go to work. You just, and I don't know what the thing will be about food and stuff, but there will be a lifestyle. But that doesn't mean everybody's going to have like $1 million and fly around in jets and stuff. Like, I don't even know how the stuff's going to be going with our movements and stuff. I think a lot of stuff is going to change. I mean, just look at how toxic our environment is. I was driving down the street and their toxic gas rubber wheels are destroying the streams and destroying the fish and shit. So, all this shit that they do, they don't give a fuck if they destroy everything. That's the stuff that has to change. Everything's going to become more in harmony with the planet. We're going to become into a harmonious state of being. And so, yeah, you may have everything where you don't have to worry about anything, but then you're still going to sit there and want more and more and more, because everybody has lessons. Like, it's never enough. I need more. And but then also there's a whole part into understanding how to manifest. When you want more, there's roads to get more. Like, there's something in you that has value. Start finding it and then sharing it with the world, and then the universe will return the favor back to you, and we will give you more. But not everything just comes like instantaneously. There's lessons. This is about learning. This is about growth. Can you imagine if this was truly just life? This is a fucking game. This is about lessons and learning and growth. This is a planet to, it's not even just a planet, because, it's a space. It's just a space. And, it's contained. And, but we're breaking free from our containment. We're coming out of our skin. We're transitioning into a different state of being. Well, for some of the people, not everybody will. It all depends on, the person's internal, it's your internal world, it's how you look at things. Do you look at things as like, there's never enough and you'll fuck anybody over to get what you need? And, that energy won't be around anymore. That energy will be leaving the planet, leaving our space. And the new energy will be, one of harmony, one of compassion, one of caring about others, one of sovereignty, taking care of yourself, not putting your needs off on somebody else, but taking care of what you need for yourself. And so it's a big part of humans needing to expand their consciousness, expand their abilities, because this containment in the micro macro, this containment has twisted people's values and stuff. Like, there's so many people down here who, you know, when they leave here, they aren't as rotten as they are here. And so when they leave here, and I feel like everybody's vibration is way higher than what it is here. Like, I don't feel like there's really, the thing that traps you isn't, it's like your vibration is higher than this place. I mean, it just is. The thing to me that traps you is these roles. It's the karma. It's the karmic debt that where you have to go in and you have to put things back in order. You can't just cause chaos and then walk away from it. That's just not how the universe works. The soul has to put things back in order. So everything has to always have order. There's a harmony. There's a symphony happening. And you can't just fucking, go down and knock down all the horns and then be like, oh, well, walking away from this one. No, you have to go back and fix it all. That's just how it works. So to me, that's the trap that will pull you back into this low vibration. Is it's up to you to fix the shit you've broke. So but the people's vibrations are higher than this place. And the part that is the difficult part is the unawareness, the disconnect. People are disconnected from themselves. They're not plugged into themselves. You have a power source inside of you that is connected to everything out there. It's connected to, it's like a phone line to the other side. Like, I don't know. I mean, I've just been using telepathy my whole life, talking to other beings, trying to use telepathy with other people. Then it's easy to have telepathy with people who are outside of a body. But see, the body causes interference, just like all these people who are sitting here trapped in the dark energy source, and then the arrogance too that comes with it. Oh my God, the ego inflation on some of these people. Like, I can't believe, like, Bold Glamour has locked in, man. It's like, dude, it's almost like you're looking at this space, this beautiful looking face that is just getting more and more evil. And it's like, man, what does it look like when you take that filter off? Because the filter seems to be kind of feeding the ego. And it's like, man, God dang, locking in on some. And another thing that's really confusing to me too is a couple weeks ago, I thought she was really hitting a turning point because something with her dog, and her dog was dying, and the vet said it had cancer in the leg or something, and it needed to have his leg cut off. I don't remember all this stuff. And she was crying. She was so distraught. And I thought, oh, this is probably her turning point. No. No. I think she found a stray at the park, a stray pit bull, and she brought it home and rescued it. And it's completely wild. And so she just keeps doing all these videos just showing how wild it is all the time. And it's like, well, I have this little 5-month-old. Well, he's almost 6 months old. I think in a week or so he'll be 6 months old. But I have this little guy. Now I can get this wildness. That's what it's like. I've seen other people with puppies too, where I think it's this energy, this dark energy that's just really, it's got people on edge, frazzled. And it's doing it to the animals too. And so, this pit bull that she's rescued, and she keeps showing these videos of it being out of control, and she just keeps laughing and stuff. And there's just something in her attitude where it's like, oh my gosh, this is all gonna blow up. You can just see it coming. Like, you can see these. It's like you're watching all these car wrecks about to happen. You're watching, is there about to be a big pileup or something? You're just standing back in observation, and you're seeing all of this happening, and all these people. And then when that they're all tapped into the dark, because that's the light's coming in. You would I don't know how to explain it because the light's coming in, but those of us who are bringing the light and stuff, we're still kept in the dark. And, but the universe is going to, all of a sudden, it's going to be like a smack, bang, where the light comes on. And then it's going to be overrun by a different attitude, a different mentality, a different way of looking at things, which is going to be very exposing to each individual to what was driving me. What have I been doing? Who have I been listening to? And these people who want to keep, judging people for being themselves. Like, like you're not allowed to be upset about things. You're not allowed to be angry about things and stuff. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, you have a whole tool set to use. You get all these different emotions. You get all these different, there's a spectrum. You don't go, well, that's very good and bad. That is very much the Piscean age, this good and bad. But see, the light's going to come in and overtake. The light is going to become, as much as how people are so much like, what do we live in, hell and stuff? Like, how is everything so upside down? I saw a guy who said, and he was an ex-gangbanger, and so he was an ex-criminal. He's got tattoos on his face. I think he's Hispanic, and but so now he's a patriot, and he's all about, community and all this stuff. He changed, and he changed way before, 1/6. But he was one of the people who was arrested and put into medium, not maximum security, medium. But I had heard from a lot of different people that they had these, it's really bad. Like, they're treating them like they're terrorists and stuff. And so there's tons and tons of people who are still they're still in that place. But he got out. But he could be waiting for another court date or something. But what it was blowing his mind is all this crime going on right now, and what people are being able to go and do, and nothing happens. They just release them. And then these people who just showed up in January to try and all stand together and say, we want the government to do whatever, and they're all arrested as terrorists and stuff. And so there's a lot of people talking about that. And he's like, I just don't get it. This is like we're upside down. It's like, what's happening? It's because we are in the upside down. We are in the upside down where, it's not going to make sense that good people, bad things happen to them. But it's going to switch. It's going to flip. The script's about to flip. And then it's going to be all these people who were on the teat of the dark energy. All of them were suckling from it. That is going to be like, it's like waking up and seeing like, you think you're on the teat of this beautiful beast that's there to help you, and all of a sudden you see like, oh, this is in the movies, like in The Shining, when he goes into the bathroom and she's this beautiful woman in the tub and stuff, and then I think he starts making out with her or something, and then he sees what she really looks like. It's gonna be like that. That's what all these people are gonna all of a sudden have to realize, like, the energy that they were feeding off of was tricking them. And there's a lot of people out there who market themselves as spiritual and stuff, and they are feeding off of the wrong energy. And it's not just me saying that. I've seen so many different people now saying it, because when you're truly connected, you can see. And it's not like there's only special people who can be truly connected. We're here to tell you, to help you connect for yourself, because everybody has the ability. But it's the ego that gets them to attach in this other predominant way of, being superior and better. But the energy flip is going to show, and that is when there will be all this flood of light that will come in. And I keep on thinking that I'm going to be in that flood of light. Like, I don't know how. I know, like, for you guys who come in and listen to me, that you say that I helped you, and that you appreciate my perspective and stuff. But so I'm assuming you know, that I'm bringing the right energy in. I'm listening to my guides. I'm following what they say to do and shit. And so to me is when that light floods in, because my account is held back so much. It's crazy how much they hold my account back. But to me, that's when that light shifts and it releases. So the light finally comes in, and then, you know, so all of us who are spreading the light, it is like finally the gates open. Because right now, I've been saying for years now, I feel like a stallion at the races, and we're behind the gates, like we're just bucking and waiting to get out of here. It's like, open the motherfucking gates. Like, look at all these people. Like, what are they talking about? What are they saying? This is mental. But see, it has to go that way. You know, it has to. These people they have to have their shit blow up in their face. You know, we're not meant to tell them ahead of time. They're meant to feel the impact. So, and that has become crystal clear to me. My guys have made that crystal clear to me about so many different things. Just when people get all caught up in their family members, why aren't their family members waking up and stuff? And it's because they're not meant to. They're meant to feel the impact. But in my conversation with my daughters, it was really cool because the one daughter, you know, she's getting all into the mud water. So she ordered this one, and it's not mud water, it's a different one, but it's the same thing of mushroom, all these different, you know, how I have all these root powders. And she said, it doesn't taste like coffee even. She said it's really, really good because she got her package yesterday. And hers came with a whole kit, and she got a spinner thing, and hers plugs in, which I think I'm going to look for a plug-in on mine. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe mine needs a battery or something. I don't know. Let's see if I can take mine apart and see what it does. But anyways, but she was, I guess she had sent a message to the other daughter, but then she said, well, what did you think of that? And so it started a conversation that I was in on, because we were on FaceTime. And so she started a parasite cleanse, because now she's seeing. And I had been telling my one daughter, because she gets sick all the time, because she's got a bunch of these, and she's constantly sick, and she's really sick of being sick. And I keep saying, you've got to do detox. And I keep saying, you got to get the Ivor. And she's like, I'm not getting that. Like, the biases that people create. And I'm like, why? Where does this come from? What is blocking you? And I don't know, you know, it's because the media that they listen to and stuff is giving them a different story. They are, you know, messing with people's minds. And so so anyways, I got in another conversation with them, but I was really excited that my one daughter, because this daughter, she's the voice of our family. Like, she has some pull in the family. Once she starts having, you know, like, to me, when I'm doing it, I'm just labeled as the crazy person, put her up on the shelf, she's just wackadoo. Once this daughter starts doing it, the one that had lived with me, then things start happening. People start being like, and that's why it was like so profound the other day when she was saying, you know, I don't think that they know you anymore. It's like they're holding on to somebody who you were a long time ago. It's like, that is what I've been saying. I was like, la. It's like so exciting. And so it was exciting about this too. Not only with the mud water, not only with the, you know, questioning all the food and looking at labels and all that stuff. She's telling me, well, you got to go read the label, Mom. And, but then now with the cleansing, so she's starting this parasite cleanse. And I think the parasite cleanse one was all out. So she got one that was a gut health cleanse or something. And so she said that she's been seeing so many videos of all these people pooping out worms and showing videos of it. And she's like, it's so disgusting. There's so many worms. And so she starts telling my daughter, the other one who keeps refusing to do it, there's so many worms. There's so many worms in people. And that's where I got to say, yeah, that's the cancer. That's what all these doctors are coming out and saying. That's what cancer is. Just like when they're saying, well, it's a protein. Yeah, because it's a goddamn worm. And so we're getting overrun with these parasites inside of us, and is making us sick. And then we run to the doctor and say, what do we do? What do we do? And then they give us more chemicals to make us sicker. And then if people can pull through that and live, it's a fucking miracle. And so it's like, you got to cleanse. You got to keep cleansing these fucking parasites out. And then it's every 10 days too, because it's the same thing as like with lice. The larvae hatches every 10 days. And then even when you're doing all these teas and powders and stuff, because boondock root is a big one for cleansing. And, I drink that every day. Mullein gets the crap out of your lungs. So all these different ones that have dandelion is good for your heart. Like they all have these different purposes. And so, but when you are doing that, you're getting the toxins out of you. You still got to get them out of you. And so you've got to get something to attach to them. And that's what you use for charcoal or clove powder. I use charcoal. So when I think I'm going to make up some more charcoal pills now, because you buy a whole bag of charcoal. I've used it with bentonite, and I'll make up a whole toothpaste. That's what I'll use for toothpaste too, is with charcoal, bentonite clay, a bunch of different stuff. Spearmint, my spearmint and stuff, essential oil, spearmint essential oil, or peppermint. The spearmint is good for something with the face and the hair. I'm not sure. I still need to look and see, like, I don't know, maybe I've got a full fucking beard and I can't even see it. I don't know. Who knows? Like, I'm just fucking don't even care anymore. It's like, fuck this shit. Yeah, I just want to get in the goddamn med bed. Dial it in. Okay, I want to, just go back to healthy optimum. Go back to feeling good. So, anyways, the one daughter, she was like, well, I gotta go. She didn't want to hear it. But the one daughter, she won't stop. She starts pooping out worms and stuff. She's going to be putting pressure on all of them. You guys got to do this. You got to do this. And they'll listen more because it's their sister. Even if they feel like she's putting pressure, they're going to listen more than when I'm talking. So it's, I'm just really excited about that because, she's, like I said, even when I was talking to her the other day, it's like she's really gotten deeper into the spiritual. She's gotten off of the fake spirituality stuff and she's going deeper in. And she even said that I was really shocked about this one because she's usually been very supportive of the people who want to change genders and stuff. And now she's starting to see the absurdity of like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is getting ridiculous. And they got that guy, the queer eye guy, out pushing that agenda. And so then this other guy who was very flamboyant, who was very feminine guy with long hair and stuff as well. And he was talking, and I don't know, he could have done the surgery, I don't know. But he was talking against the other guy and calling him out on his bullshit because he's saying, oh yeah, well, it's only people who are 16, 17, 18, and this other guy's pulling up all these records. No, they're whacking off the boobs of 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds. There's girls in lawsuits right now who went through that as a preteen of, oh, well, maybe I'm a boy. And then the school, I don't even know all the different things because the schools can the doctors can take your kids away and stuff. So they put the pressure on these parents. They tell them everything's going to be fixed. And I swear, you got to run from the system. You got to run the other direction. They're trying to put so many rules and laws now with educate. They're coming in as big and hard as they can to take control. And it's so big and so hard that it's, making a lot of people go, whoa, wait a minute. But that's how it had to happen. It had to come in that big and that hard to get the reaction. But we do have now the people are like, whoa, wait a minute. And so, it's happening all over. You can see those videos all over the place. But I was really excited because she was starting to see, oh, there's an agenda. Because, yeah, there's a fucking agenda. And, people don't even know how deep it is, what these people are really trying to do, trying to create this, droid society. You don't have culture, you don't have connection, you don't have family, you don't have gender, you basically have no identity. And people use their identities to be able to get by. And that's why this whole identity crisis has to occur, where, you can't be involved in a group. You can't just be a Christian. You can't just be a Catholic. You can't just be, a rainbow person. You can't, all these different things. It has to crash and burn so that you figure out who you are at your core, not who you are, how you fit into this group. This is the move towards solidarity, towards self. And so this is, everything has to go boom in order to get people to see And it is like a slow transition, but there's going to be a big turning point. There's going to be like a mad flash. And I still, I mean, so many people right now are talking so much about the solar flash. But, I've gone through this before in 2016 or 2017, where, everybody thought it was about to go down. And so now for these people to be thinking, it's just like, to me, it's kind of like a repeating the cycle. But we do have lots of flashes coming. We have all this stuff that's changing. And that is ahead of us, this solar event. I mean, there's footage right now where there is look like a black hole in the sun. And that is part of prophecy and stuff. So all these different things. And I don't know. To me, there's a lot of things that there's just a lot of moving parts, and I don't know how they're all going to go. I have a hard time thinking it's going to be the solar flash, but it could be. I mean, it could be. The solar flash comes in, it crashes all the power, everything goes down, and we have to start over. But we're in this process of the government crashing, arrests happening, medical, all these different things, CPS, like all these different government fingers, all these organizations that were here to control us, to feed off of us, they're all crashing, and that all has to occur. So to me, that all crashing is what leads to the solar flash. It's all this anger, and because all of our anger and stuff is bouncing back. And the amount, oh yeah, that was in a dream too, because we were outside. It's gonna be a sky. There's gonna be some sky stuff. There's gonna be some sky events. There was two, oh, what was it? So I was standing outside and it was like two suns. And then over here, there was something else. And then, I can't even remember. I can't remember the whole thing, but it really, seems like I woke up for a second because that dog started puking, and then I heard Stella's stomach, and I thought, oh crap, that's gonna happen. But then I went back to sleep, and then I didn't wake up till 4:44. And it probably was like 4:30, and I was laying there thinking, oh my God, what time is it? I'm so sore. But when I'm getting woke up, especially when it's 10, I was like, oh my God, is it just midnight now? So, anyways, there is going to be a lot of vents in the sky. I think there's going to be planes falling. There's so much stuff. There's so much stuff going on right now. And so many things of people waking up and seeing and showing things. And because I just saw something else about, the North Pole and the South Pole, because this is a toroidal field. This is an energetic field. And in that energy that creates it, there's frequencies. Based on where the frequency is, there's realms. And, the realm that we're at is very hyper-focused. And focusing outside of the realm is freaking people out. It scares people. It's like, people, this shit was always there. It was always around you. There's nothing to be scared of. You are the problem. It's not the world. It's you. It's your fear. It's your inability to see who you really are, because you should be able to connect to your soul and understand that the world is magic. So, anyways, how long I've been talking? So I think I'm gonna go. Let me think if there was something else. But we've had power this whole time. It's been raining and raining. Right now, it sounds like it's kind of quiet out there. It's been storming and storming, but then it will just blow in, and it'll be those like power rain again, and it's just so wet. And then this moisture. Even I went to go get my start yesterday. I was gonna make, nothing is working. Nothing is coming out right. My bread didn't work, and I was going to use my start, and I got my start out. It was full of mold. I was just like, oh my gosh, dang. This is just, the moisture and there's something with our atmosphere and stuff. I really, when I say, like, it feels like it's closing in on us. It totally feels like this, it's closing in on us, but it's going to explode out. So that'll be the firmament, the solar flash, the Big Bang. But there's just all these things that lead up to it, as far as I'm concerned. All this emotional stuff that people have to go through, and the outrage and the questioning things is the part of the awakening. And to realize, like, what these people are doing to you and taking matter into your own hands. And yeah, you gotta do these cleanses and stuff. Oh yeah, the charcoal thing, it comes like in this big bag. And then when you try and do it, like, if you don't like it to get your fingers dirty, because there's little containers you can get and put the capsules in, and then you can dump it in to them that way. This is very, very, it sticks to your skin, and it's super messy. And so anyways, I'm going to make some more of those pills. So I think I'll give a couple to Stella too, and see if get more of these toxins out, because she's just overrun with them. So anyways, just, all you can keep doing is just keep working on you, and don't turn to them. Just rest assured that we all at this point are overrun with parasites. We all have cancer and shit inside of us that our body is fighting, and you got to keep your body in its optimum so it can keep up the fight. So you got to be taking care of it. You got to be putting in, it's like you got to be putting in the premium at this point to get it to run, because the other is, we're just chugging along. And so anyways, it's very exciting when I see, my kids starting to wake up and see just on the, the parasite. I was so excited. It was just all these different things. It's just like, oh, it just gives you hope. Gives you hope, like, oh, okay, this is so exciting, and everything's gonna change, and everything's gonna be okay at some point. But there's gonna be a lot of pain and suffering that we gotta go through still. Like I've said, the medical is gonna be a big one, but there's gonna be all different ones. It's gonna affect all different people, because it can be people who have cops in their family, and they're gonna, there's gonna be some shit that's gonna go down, judicial, like all these people. And there's people who think, that these people are like, just like I said, the woman whose son's a doctor, and she's so proud of him. And then she's going to find out, like, oh my God, there's going to be things are going to flip the other direction. It's going to flip completely the other side. So that's all I can say. And it's going to hit people in all different ways, in all different directions. And it's important what you're doing with your energy, and how you're healing, and how you're looking at things. And get it into your mind that these different beings and stuff aren't monsters. These are advanced beings. They could have come in and wiped us out a bunch of times. These are advanced beings giving us a time, giving us an opportunity to catch up. And a lot of souls came in. I think, I think there's a reason why I didn't come in as connected to this world as other people. I think there's a lot of us who came in with this disconnect, because we're connected to this other world. It's a part of this change. I don't know. We got to just see how it all goes, how it all works out. But it is a part of it. But yeah, when you are manifesting, you don't get caught up in manifesting, money. Just stay away from manifesting money. Manifest the future you want. Move towards it. And then don't get all upset when it's not there standing. No, there's things that happen that lead towards it. There's things you got to learn. There's things you got to grow. It's a path. It's not an automatic, like, oh, give me $200, universe. Like, if somebody's just turning around and doing this kind of stuff. There's a thing what they'll do too. Like, because they just did it the other day to me, where all of a sudden there was $30 in my account. And I was like, fuck, I need to get Stella's medicine. And it's, tomorrow's payday, hopefully. And, there's a whole thing going around right now that the 15th is when the banks go down. So next Friday is supposed to be the World Bank is going to crash. So I don't know. We keep hearing these dates all the time, but it is in the process of crashing, just to keep that in mind. But when you are manifesting, you want to be manifesting things that are good for you, things like stability, or, shelter, a home that you can be safe. You putting that out into the universe, the real things you want, and not the money stuff. But they will bring you money when you need it. You need money to pay your bills and stuff. Then all of a sudden, a check comes out of nowhere in your account. But it's like, but when you're demanding and stuff, It's like, I don't know. Sometimes that maybe not coming from where you think it's coming from. Because there's all sorts of things going on. There's a being tuned into the universe, and there's being tuned into this other energy. So be aware, and, really be thoughtful and pay attention. Really start trying to weed through the conversations in your head. Start trying to pick up on the energies. Slow down your thoughts. Slow it down. Try and get in and listen and question, where did that come from? Why did I think that? Where'd that come from? What's that all about? Start recognizing the conversations going on in your mind are the real influencers, the spiritual influencers. And you don't want to be listening to the dark ones. You want to be focused on the light ones, and the light ones aren't as glamorous as the dark ones. Keep that in mind. The dark ones will, feed that ego. They're very alluring. The light ones are very, it's different energy. It's much more of a thoughtful, mindful. And another thing too, you have to ask for them. They won't just step in. These other ones, they'll step in. They'll step all over the place, and they'll tell you how important they are, that they're there. These other ones, though, they'll wait for you to ask for help. When you want help, you got to talk to them. You got to say, show me the way. That's the come to Jesus moments. That's the drop into your knees. Oh, Lord, please tell me what to do. Oh, And if you're surrounded by dark energy, you may still get them answering you. But if you are starting to recognize different energies, then you should be able to notice, like, wait a minute, you're not feeding the part of me I want fed. You got to start listening. I don't know how else to say it. I've tried to explain it a lot of different times. You got to get through the noise, because the ones that are of the light, it's more of a whisper. It's more of a, we're here when you want the truth, we're here. But they're not going to shove it in your face, because this is part of the game, and it's part of your discernment. It's part of your lessons. It's part of your learning. So it's pretty crazy to watch. So anyways, we'll see how this day goes. We'll see what happens. Tomorrow I'll get up and I'll do my thing. And then I'm going to try and get out and go do some stuff and go get some food and whatnot. And it's always like, buckle down. I can't believe how fast things keep going, running out. It's weird. Like, time is so fucking jacked, man. There's something weird going on. So anyways, but that, I think it's making some people go crazy. So just mind your manner, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.